In today's video, I'm going to save you from wasting money by showing you the two big Google Ads bid strategy mistakes that most advertisers make. Hi, my name is Daryl and I run an e-commerce Google Ads agency called Big Flaw. I've audited hundreds of Google Ads accounts in my time and I've talked to hundreds of business owners, and at my agency we've done more than $50 million in revenue per year from Google Ads alone for our clients. Keep watching because I'm going to explain how two simple misunderstandings are potentially wasting your money in Google Ads. And of course, I'm going to show you what to do instead. Now later in the video I have a very simple framework to share with you that will absolutely bulletproof you from making this mistake again. So with that said, let's get started. So here's the mistake that a lot of people make with their Google Ads bid strategies, the thing to avoid. And it's actually kind of two things that are very related to one another, and they are lack of patience and not understanding how to judge results. In terms of patience, it sounds super mundane to simply say, be more patient. But it really does cost you money if you don't know when and why to be patient with your bid strategy. And regarding understanding results, there are some key facts you need to know about the way Google's algorithm works that will level up your game once you know them. Alright, let's start by looking at the lack of patience issue. I audited a Google Ads account recently. The business owner had launched a new campaign and ad account a few weeks ago. He set up Performance Max on a target ROAS. So far so good. But then, 2 days later, and after one conversion, he changed his bid strategy settings, increasing the target ROAS. 1 day later, change again, this time decreasing it back down. 2 days later, change again, this time putting it somewhere in the middle. Over the course of 2 weeks, he changed the bid strategy 8 times. And during this time, there were only 10 conversions total. This is the lack of patience problem at work here. Now, in this example, it is a bit extreme, and you may be thinking that you're in the clear because you never change your bid strategy settings that much or that quickly. But let me tell you, if you're changing bid strategy settings more than once every few months, you may well be falling afoul of the lack of patience issue. So keep watching to find out how to fix it. More on fixing it in just a little bit, but first, the other problem, not understanding how to judge results. The person in my previous example thought that if he launches a campaign and waits 2 days and does not straight away see a profitable ROAS, then it's not working and something needs to change. In actual fact, at this point, we have no idea if it's working or not. It's way too early to tell, there's too few conversions, not enough data. When asking yourself at this stage, is my campaign working? The only reasonable conclusion you can draw from such limited data is, I don't know. Let's wait for more data and see. You might even consider increasing the budget at this stage if you're impatient to see results. More spend means more data, faster, which means you essentially don't have to wait for as long to get your answers. So how long should you actually wait for? People always ask me this and they expect an answer in days or weeks or some amount of time. My response though is that actually the ideal amount of time to wait is measured in conversions. Expect the first 30 conversions to come in at a subpar return on ad spend. Expect the next 30 conversions to be a bit better. The next 30 after that could be starting to approach what we might expect as the stable ROAS. And then after the next 30 after that is done, at this point, we may have a clearer indication if anything needs to change in the bid strategy. Now, while conversions are the primary currency when it comes to judging how long to wait, amount of days does have a secondary importance too. The 30-day time frame is important as that is what the algo is optimizing for. Having very few conversions per 30 days could really hamper things for you. More on that in the coming section. For now, I'm going to get a bit geeky, and I hope I don't lose you here, but this is something I think is both important and interesting to know. If this does bore you and you don't want the geeky details, feel free to skip to the next section via the timestamps in the description below. In that section, I condense the following learnings into a simple framework that you can use. Okay, so if you're still with me, there are 6 key things you need to understand to make better decisions when judging your bid strategies. Let's dive into them. Number 1, probabilities are just averages. When I say probabilities here, I'm basically referring to any metrics you see that are percentages. When we say the conversion rate is 3%, what we are saying is that out of 100 clicks, we will, on average, get 3 sales. When we say that a click-through rate is 5%, it means that, on average, for 100 impressions, we will get 500 clicks. Now the key word here is average. Conversion rates of 3% means that on average we'll get 3 sales per 100 clicks, but it does not mean that you should expect 3 sales for every single 100 clicks. Sometimes for 100 clicks you will get 0 sales. Sometimes for 100 clicks, you might get 10 sales. Now, if you get lots and lots of clicks over time and across a lot of data, you will start to see that 3% emerge, but you absolutely should not expect to get precisely 3 sales for every 100 clicks. When you zoom into the data, you will see a lot of variance in the actual performance. Hence, when you are looking at small batches of conversions, say less than 30 conversions, the ROAS information you see there is not reliable. So this brings me to my next point. Number 2, data fluctuates all the time. Zoom out for the big picture. If you zoom in to the day-by-day view or even the week-on-week view, you will see a lot of variance in the data, and this is simply because you are zoomed in so far that you will see very little data. Think about tossing a coin. What is the probability that it will land heads? 50%, right? Half the time it will land heads. We all know that. But try tossing a coin 2 times in a row right now. It might land 2 heads in a row. It might land 2 tails in a row. So in this case, you might get a 100% hit rate, or you might even get a 0% hit rate. This shows that when you zoom too far into the data, the results could vary wildly from the true probability. Now take that same coin though, and toss it 1 million times, and the amount of times it lands heads will be very, very, very close to 500,000 times. It probably won't be exactly that, but it will be very close. When we zoom out and look at larger data sets, in our case more conversions, we start to see a more reliable view of the true picture, meaning our conversion rate and ROAS. Number 3, the algo works to a 30-day time frame. If your ROAS is not what you need it to be on a given day or week, do not sweat. The algo is already adjusting things to bring in your target on a 30-day basis. You do not need to change the bid strategy and send the algo back into learning mode if your ROAS is not what you need it to be on a given day, week, or even fortnight. This is of course assuming that you've given it a target ROAS to aim for, so it knows what to aim for. Now, before I jump on to my next point, I'd like to take a brief moment to let you know that if you need help growing your Google Ads revenue and profit, then head over to my agency website at bigflare.com. Fill out the form there and get in touch with me personally. We can have a no obligation chat about your business and challenges, and I'll give you an honest overview of whether or not I think my team and I can help you reach your advertising goals. Alright, with that said, back to the meat and potatoes. Number 4, the algo is already adjusting. Related to my previous point about the algo working to 30-day timeframes, when your results are lower than target on a given week, the algo sees this. It knows this, and it will be adjusting your bids automatically over the next week or 2 to try and bring in your target ROAS for the 30 days. You do not need to change things if ROAS is off for a day or a week or even 2, because the algo is dynamic. It is already changing things for you to bring in your target on the 30 days. Once again, this is all assuming that you have actually entered in a target ROAS or a target CPA if you're working to a CPA, so that the system knows what target it's actually aiming for. Number 5, you need to understand time-lagged sales. When someone makes a purchase on your site, Google does not, by default, track that sale to the time of the actual purchase. Rather, it tracks it to the time of the last ad click. So for example, someone clicks an ad on Monday, but they don't buy. Then they come back to the site the next day on Tuesday, and then they buy. Analytics and Shopify will say that the sale happened on Tuesday because they track the sale to the time it actually happened. Google Ads will say the sale happened on Monday because that was when the last ad was clicked. This sounds minor, but it can have a huge effect on your judgment of whether your bid strategy is working. If you're looking at very recent Google Ads data, say for yesterday or the past 7 days, you won't be seeing all the sales. There will be people who have clicked an ad within that time frame who are going to buy and thus get their sales attributed to one of those days, but they haven't bought yet, and so you're not seeing the data yet. Try this experiment. Go in Google Ads now and look at how many sales you made yesterday. Now wait 2 days and check that same day again. You may well see that all of a sudden sales have gone up. Now wait another week, check again, you'll see a different, larger number. And this is exactly because of time-lagged sales. Now in that example, I am assuming that you're a seller who gets many sales per day. If you're someone who doesn't get sales every day, then that experiment might not work. You might have to look at a larger time frame, and the effect of time-lagged sales might not be so pronounced for you. Now, the longer the consideration phase of your product, which is often linked to its price, higher priced products having longer consideration times and thus more time-lagged sales, the larger the amount of time-lagged sales and the less reliable your recent data is. Number 6, and last but not least, the algo does not like too many changes. The algo needs lots of conversion data to learn, and if you are chopping and changing the targets all the time, you are never getting past learning mode. Inside of learning mode, results are always going to be up and down. That's the nature of learning mode. So if results are down on the past 30 days, but within that 30 days you made some pretty major changes to the bid strategy settings or the campaign composition, then that invalidates the results and you need to wait a longer time without making major changes before judging the results again. Now that we understand a bit more about how to really judge the results of our bid strategies, let's put all this together into a framework for knowing when we can and can't make a judgment. Okay, so let's say you are looking at a campaign's bid strat and performance, and let's say you are seeing that its ROAS is too low and it's not meeting the target that you set it. And you're wondering, is this an issue? Is there something that I need to change? Or is it perhaps just a case that I need to wait a bit longer and see? So here's a checklist you can mentally run through. Ask yourself these questions. Am I looking at batches of greater than 30 conversions? Am I seeing that results are not improving from one batch of 30 conversions to another? Have I adjusted my date ranges to account for all time-lagged sales? Am I looking at the results on a minimum 30-day time frame? Am I sure that there have been no major changes in the past 30 days that would have put the algo back in learning mode? If you answered yes to all of the above, and you're still seeing results being way off target, like more than 15 to 20% away from your target, it might be time to change something. In my experience though, most of the time when people find the bid strategy is not working, they were in a situation where they would have answered no to some or all of those questions. So in their case, they weren't looking at the results fairly. And then they go and chop and change things, which sends the algo back into learning mode. In learning mode, results go all crazy again, which they then mistakenly think means the algo is not working, and they go and change something again, setting off this vicious cycle that just wastes a ton of money for them. At the end of the cycle, having burned a lot of money due to their poor decision making, they end up complaining about Google with posts like, "Google Ads doesn't work," or "Auto bidding from Google is a scam, they're stealing my money," or something along those lines. So how about you? Have you ever made the mistake of lack of patience or understanding in managing your Google Ads bid strategies? Or was this video old news for you? Let me know in the comments below. And if this video was helpful for you, then please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will keep them coming for you. Until next time everyone, always be testing.